Hello and how are you today? I'm going to make a fast, straightforward video about POI timeframes, how we can identify which time frame that a special POI is for, and how we can make our entry setups and strategies based on the time frame of that POI and the lower time frames using fractal concepts. For example, let's imagine you have some kind of support and resistance here, and you can continue that. So you can find out, for example, a trade like here or like here, or you may have some stop losses here. But if you are a good trader, you can see that here we have another support and resistance again. I'm going to make it thicker, and if I zoom out, you can see how powerful that one was. So we can enter the trade for these opportunities or this opportunity or even this opportunity. But all of us know that the most important thing that make an advanced, profitable, consistent trader is that he has a plan and he follows it with money management, right mindset, and right rules and powerful concepts. But how you can make a strategy when you don't know how to identify the time frame of your POIs and you don't know how many time frames you should go lower to find your trading setups. Today we want to talk about this concept. So we should know which time frame this support and resistance is for. And after that we can make our strategies, and based on our strategy we can enter on that time frame or lower time frames. You can't use a concept like trend line, support and resistance, and order blocks without knowing its time frame. You will get crushed with the markets. So for example, we have this support and resistance level here. How we can identify its time frame? We have two rules. I can't make schematics for these rules. We should use charts, but we have two rules. First rule is that we go to higher time frames. Let me see the visibility on this one. We go to higher time frames. For example, I start from monthly, and you can see you don't even see this support and resistance here, especially in this location. I go to weekly, and I can see it, but it's maybe weekly. But if you want to use this point as a support and resistance, it is not for this one. I lower my time frame, and when I'm satisfied with the pullbacks and breakouts, pullbacks, and all the things that I'm seeing in this level, that's my time frame. So I start from higher time frames, and when I see that level properly in the highest time frame, that highest time frame that I see that level properly is the time frame of that special POI. It is the first rule. Let's see that on some other examples. For example, if I go to 4 hour, we can see that we have a good support and resistance level here, right here. For example, I want to use this trade or use this support and resistance for this trade after this breakout. How I can do that? I should first know which time frame this support and resistance level is for. So I increase my time frame. It is not even visible on monthly time frame. I go to weekly. It is not a good level in weekly, and I go to daily. So the first obvious and properly visible time frame that I can see this line beautifully on that time frame is daily, from the higher time frames. I start from the highest time frame possible. So this line is for daily. But what's the point of doing these things to identify our time frame of our POI? It is because we want to make strategies based on this time frame. For example, I use 4 time frame lower than that time frame 4 time frame in the MetaTrader. We have weekly, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, and 1 minute for MetaTrader in MetaTrader platform. So when it is on daily, 4 hour and 1 hour, 2 time frames lower. I'm sorry, excuse me, I mixed things up a little bit, I got confused. So 2 MetaTrader time frames lower. For example, it is the ratio of 1 to 20, 1 to 16. Those ratios are good. So when I'm in daily, I use 1 hour for my trading setups. For example, if you are a price action trader, you use double tops, double bottoms, and other price action patterns. You can go to 1 hour and search for those patterns here or here. You can see that it is daily. If I go to 1 hour, first you can trade this pullback because it is your entry time frame and it's a good trade, but I always try to catch reversals in these POIs unless these POIs, for example, goes up for 2 or 3 good candles and gets validated with these movements, the continuation. So it should have some other big candles that validate this breakout. So 1 candle is just for fake outs. And I go to lower time frames, and for example, if you are a price action trader, you can enter the trade after this support became resistant, and you can see the results. So first we identify the time frame of our lines and POIs. After that we can go to 1 lower time frame, 2 lower time frame, anything you can find trading setups in them, and you have a good strong strategy based on your trading setups. You go to some lower time frames and you try to find those setups on lower time frames. That will increase your accuracy and increase your reward to risk ratio significantly. So let's have some other examples. For example, we have another support and resistance here that is a clean one. We have the open and closes here, and we have the shadows right here. So we want to take this retest as a trade, but first we should identify our time frame of this zone. It is not monthly, it is not weekly, and it is not daily either, because it is a big move. So it is something between weekly and daily. It can be 2 days. So I use 2 hour time frame for this one. I use price action patterns to enter the market, and it is our double top. You can this double top here, and you can see the results. So we go to higher time frames, we find our POI's time frame, and then we go to lower time frames to find our trading setups. It's the first method of finding a POI's time frame. For example, for an order block, it should be 1 candle. For example, here we have a POI, but it is not 1 candle, it is 2 consecutive candles. So which time frame this POI is for? When we see more than 1 candle, we go to higher time frames. For example, 2 days. You can see that this order block is very beautiful in 2 days time frame, so it is a 2-day time frame. Or here we have some kind of order block. Because of the fact that these candles are inside that big order block, you can say that it is for 2 hours, but it's better to find the exact time frame of this order block. I go to where was that? And you can see that it is for weekly. So what is the point? I use 4 hours or 1 hour, especially when I'm trading a smart money to enter the market. It is the setup that I talked about a lot in this channel. You can see a smart money concept videos and find that setup. It is this confirmation when the market break lower and it create a change of character or shift and it gives us a liquidity point. It comes up, grab that liquidity point and goes lower, but we should have an imbalance here. You can see that happen here. The market is going up, it shifted, it made some liquidity points, it came up, grabbed that liquidity, and it is my entry, and I even don't know if it continues from this point or it is a stop loss. It worked well and you can see the results. So we find our POI's time frame, we go to lower time frames to enter the market. So for order block, we should see that order block in one candle. Another important thing is, for example, trend lines. How I can find the time frame of my trend line. For example, here we have a strong trend line from this point to this point. For classical concepts, like classic technical analysis concepts, you should use higher time frames to mark your charts. For example, for our daily or weekly. So we use the time frames higher than 4 hours. Anyway, because they work in those time frames better than lower time frames. But we want to know which time frame is this trend line for? Is this trend for? We go to the highest time frame. It is a monthly time frame, and we can see that we don't see that trend line properly. We go to weekly, we don't see that trend line properly. We go to daily. Daily is a little bit messy, so I think it is for 2 days or 3 days. I think it's for 2 days. Yes, 2 days is a beautiful time frame for this trend line, because we see that trend line beautiful without noises, and these swings are just impulses and pullbacks, and we don't see some crazy shit that's for example like these pullbacks and these kinds of price action. We just see the impulses and pullbacks, impulse, pullback, impulse, pullback. It is an important rule. So the first time frame I see this trend line in is the 2-day time frame. And for example, if I want to enter the trend after this fake out, for example, it is an inner trend line. We mark this trend line from the shoulders because this sharp movement doesn't allow us to mark our trend line properly. It is some basic rules and concepts that I use mechanically. I didn't make this up. It is our anchor point, and it is the second touch. This is the fake out, and we can see the results here. You get used to these kinds of concepts with me. Anyway, it is 2 days, so I try to catch the trades in 2-hour time frame. It is a little bit hard to take trades from this one. We should take continuous trade. For example, here it doesn't stop. I have a poor internet connection. For example, here it is a stop loss here, and it is okay. Anyway, sometimes it just doesn't allow us to enter a good trade. It is the second entry, and we can use this double top for entering the markets. For when we are near this POI, especially after this strong move to the downside, we can take continuous trades, but in the right direction. We know that our trend line is to the downside, so we can try to catch selling trades. This was a unfortunate stop loss, and this is a good trade. So I use for example, for 2 days I use 2 hour, for daily 1 hour, for 4 hour 15 minutes, for 1 hour 5 minutes, and for 15 minutes 1 minute to enter the market. After I identify the time frame of my POI, and it is for trend lines. It was the first rule. The second rule is that when we see these corrections in 3 or more candles, For example, let's see another example. Here we have a trend line that is a clean one, and we want to see, for example, on this third touch of this trend line, when we can enter the market, in which time frame. I go to a higher time frame, so as I start from monthly, I can't see anything here. I go to the weekly, I can't see anything. Daily, I can't see anything. It is not for the daily time frame. Why? Because this correction should be visible with 3 or more candles, and it's just one red candle. I go to 4 hour, and it is a 4 hour trend line. Why? Because this corrective move is more than 3 candles. Or if you are not comfortable with taking this trade, because I talk about these unconventional trend lines a lot, we have a lot of advanced concepts that you are not familiar with, you can go for this pullback. It came down, it broke this trend line, it started to pull back, and we want to see if we can catch this trade. How we can catch this trade? It is a 4 hour trend line, so we go to 15 minutes. I don't think it provides me with 15. Yes, I have the data. Let me. So here we want to take trades. We will have a stop loss in this region. We will have a lot of stop loss in trading, so get used to it or leave the trading world. You will have a lot of stop losses. We have 2 confirmations here. First is the break of this line, and you can see the results, and the second is this big double top. And with classical trading, you should be comfortable taking partials or closing your trades in 2 or 3 reward to risk ratio. It's not like a smart money. Smart money will provide us with a much higher reward to risk ratio, but not in classic. So let's see what happens to that trade, and you can see it provides us with 2 to 1 reward to risk ratio. It's the reason why I say when you are using classical trading concepts, you should be aware of these partials. Another good opportunity is when it comes back for the second retest. Always extend your POIs and your trend lines, especially trend line. It is going to the upward, and here we can see these beautiful candles in a row, so we extend our line to those candles, and here we should take entry on 15 minutes. So it wasn't visible on that time frame we was looking at. That was, I think, 2 hour time frame. This setup wasn't visible, but when you pay attention to all the time frames, you can find this trend line on 4 hour, and you can take an enormous trade from this double top or this channel, and you can see the results. Always take partials and let your trade run. So the first rule was to pay attention to higher time frames, and the first time frame that our POI or our trend line or our support and resistance is visible and it is beautiful in that time frame, we can say that it is the time frame of our POI. And the second rule is the 3 candle rule. When our reaction to the levels, for example a support or resistance level, our pullbacks and our corrections is visible in the highest time frame, the highest time frame that those 3 or more candles are visible, that is the time frame of our POI. Excuse me for letting it just go. Now let's talk about, for example, this support and resistance, this clean support and resistance. and we want to see which time frame is it for with those two rules. So the first rule was the visibility rule. We are going to go to higher time frames, for example monthly. We can see that line in this time frame. We go to the weekly, we can see it here either. We go to daily, it is not a good visible line here. I said that it should be visible and it should be beautiful. We can see that here. For 4 hour, it is for 4 hour. Is it for higher time frames? No, it is for 4 hour. For the first rule, it is the highest rule that we can see these reactions with comfort and they are beautiful. And the second rule is the 3 candle rule. These reactions are more than 3 candles. You can see that it is a good rule to follow. So it is for 4 hour. Which time frame I use to trade? You may use different time frames, but I use 15 minutes to enter the market because this is a little bit a small movement. You can go to 5 minutes for entry. I will use 5 minutes. We don't have anything for here, but you can enter the trade on this movement because it is a retest of that big movement. Where is that line position? And you can see the results right now. And it will come back eventually again 5 minutes because this movement is a little bit small for 4 hour. 5 minutes you can see this good classical channel. I am going to enter on this double bottom and you can see the results. So it is the result that we should identify the time frame of our POIs, lines and markups because we can make strategies based on them and enter the market on the right time frame and on the right setup. Anyway, I think this video is very helpful and it can be a milestone for your trading and it can change your perspective of trading. Thank you for your watching. We are in a dark times in Iran, so your support and your comments, your shares, your subscription is much appreciated, and goodbye.